Hello everyone, welcome back to Accidental Ascension 4A with Kirby 1, playing as Nazca. And right around turn 12, if I recall from General Confusion's videos, he was having a little bit of an issue with knights on his cap and being invaded and such. So let's see how we're doing. A lot of things are going on, and honestly this turn 12 for me was a pretty big decision on my part. I went back and forth on what I was ultimately going to do with this turn, and I talked with a bunch of different people over the course of my decision making process, and didn't inform them at the time of my decisions, but I think it became self-evident shortly thereafter. In any event, the decision ultimately became between whether to invade Mictlan or whether to invade Airmore. Now, as it stands, Mictlan is going to be pretty weak in terms of Dominion. Their Pretender is imprisoned, and so their Bless is not great, and their expansion has not been super great either. Additionally, Mictlan's units, as we saw with my bump with them, are something that I can take with my armies. I felt pretty confident about that. However, I did have a nap with them, and so I would have to break that, or rather I should say, I would have to end my nap and 3 turns afterward attack them, and they would see it coming and be prepared for that. So those are the pros and cons there. Airmore, similarly, has had a actually semi-decent expansion, but in terms of their scales are very bad. So they're going to be struggle busing all the way through this whole game in terms of making enough money to be able to survive. That, and they took an Awake God, so that's not going to get any better for them. Their Bless is mediocre, but they have capital only sacreds, and because they have such bad scales, they will have few capital only sacreds. So I felt pretty confident also with my ability to fight Airmore. Now, as we're going to see later on in this video, I vastly overestimated my capabilities and made several mistakes. But anyways, now additionally in this particular turn, we had a frustrating bump here because Pythium attacked with some mercs and some bows and stuff like that, and his crossbows all died, but his longbowmen survived in order to take this province in my cap circle, which he apparently didn't know was in my cap circle for some reason. And then I bumped with him, and apparently longbowmen are better than crossbows and also better than Hatun Runas. So now you know how many longbowmen it takes to beat 30 Hoburgs and 40 Hatun Runa. It's less than 30. So that was frustrating because not only did I not win, but also he took a province in my cap circle. Now, I expressed my frustration with him and said, "Hi, you're in my cap circle, please leave." And he said, "Okay, I'll leave." And also we signed a nap because I was not particularly interested in fighting with Pythium. Middle-aged Pythium has better units with these Emerald Guard than Airmore, and he can get more of them. These are his scales, much better than well, the hell scales that Airmore's got. Death 2, Sloth. I think he's only got like Order, and that's it. We've got much more income in order to be able to make more of these guys, and that would be a pain in the butt to fight. Now, I don't know his expansion, how well he's done, but he's gotten right up in my face, and so even though I was grumpy with that, I was fine with him leaving and signing a nap, and that way I have a nap with everyone, because I have a nap with Sarmatia, we got a nap, I have a nap with Pangea, and now I have a nap with Pythium, and I have a nap with Mictlan as well. I don't border Satis yet, and I don't know who's over here yet, but we'll find out. And then, so really logically, the only direction I was going to fight was south toward Airmore. And I felt pretty confident doing that. So that was the plan. As far as my expansion goes, I had a triple expansion as opposed to a quadruple expansion because of Grrr Pythium. This was so-so. All of my Hatun Runa ran away after they got massacred by lizard warriors because they're lizard warriors. And we bumped here, and we took this all right. Actually, lizard warriors seem to do better against Hatun Runas than knights did, so, or I should say heavy cavalry, but there you go. So we saw Airmore take the Independence, which is great. This was one of his expansion armies. So he lost the casualties to that. Then we just raffle stomped him, and he ran away. So this went very well for us. That's good. If I believe, he did not expect me to be here, which is why he had his commander in the back here and not guarded by anyone. And so he got sniped, and that's how that won. Yep. So he won't be falling for that again now that he saw that. And so again, because of this bump, we're going to go here and attack immediately. I don't see any other palisades up from him yet, but we're going to just dive right in and raid the crap out of him. Now, he's probably building a palisade here, so we'll want to take care of that relatively soon, at least to deny him income and make his lands easier to take by raiding. Additionally, but for right now, we're just going to clear out our cap circle and take that there. Because they're barbarians, we need to throw a lot at it. Now, as far as this goes, because Pythium said I could have it, I just put in some crossbows, and that's it. The rest of these guys are gonna move out toward the front. Now, we stuck some Hatun Runa with our Royal Malki, just because while he's sight searching around, by the way, didn't find anything here, but while he's sight searching around, we don't want him to be completely undefended and a very valuable target for people. Additionally, we're getting an Inca, and we're getting lots of Axemen to have enough forces to be able to go in against Airmore. No mercenaries. Research is still trucking along. We're going up enchantment so we can get Horde of Skeletons. That's what we want. Alright, let's move on. Just check the events. No less gold. Blood Slaves is actually great because we can actually use them with our Pretender later on in the game for forging items and stuff like that. Specifically, I will want Bloodstones, which will get me Earth boosters. Alright, let's move on. Turn 13. Aha! I forgot something pretty crucial from last turn. We sent Lanka some gems. What did I send him? I think it was death gems. We'll take a look in a second. But we got air gems, and so we can get more condors. Another thing that I forgot from last turn was a pretty big turn actually, was that we took a look at this province, because while we negotiated for non-aggression pact with Sarmatia, we asked if we could have this province because we knew how much gold it was worth and we had our dominion in it. But we were not really in a position to be able to take it because of these heavy calves. So he unfortunately said no, and I was not really in a position to be able to fight him over it, especially against this. I'm not really going to be able to do much with slave birds against Sarmatian cataphracts. That's just not a thing that's going to happen. So we're like, all right, fine, can't do anything about it. Guess you'll take it. But I did want to see what he had going on for him, and he had this, and it was good for him. And he already has Awakened Tattoos, so these guys are ridiculous. Protection versus Mundane 21, 20 defense skill. Yeah, no, thank you, sir. So that's great. Now, as far as expansion goes, we killed the bars, but as you can see, they wailed on us pretty hardcore, and we lost a lot of units. So that's not super great, especially the Sun Guards. The Sun Guards, I really wish we weren't losing as many of, because they are kind of hard to replace with our low Dominion score. Here we actually, so this is middle-aged Pythium. We'll get to that in a second. Here we had no problems particularly with dealing with Airmore, and we took out his province defense pretty easily. We got 2 Earth Gems. That's great. This is now upgraded to a fort, but we have no mage here to build a lab, so that's silly of us. This was the province in question that Sauromatia took, that we wanted because it had nice income, but our death skills are there, so hopefully he doesn't get as much out of it as he could have. Yeah, it must have been death gems, because we're pretty low on the death gems, and we get death income from our cap, and we haven't used them much except for to get this Bane. Anywho, you remember how I said last turn that I was irritated with Pythium for going into my cap circle? Well, imagine my irritation when I find that he put 15 PD there after he told me that I could have it. It was substantial. I let him know. And I can't really do anything about it because now I'm at war with other Airmore. But I let him know he was on notice. So after that, we are going to finish our expansion basically into Indie provinces, because this is the last one left here. Throw in our Archer and Bane core here. This went well for us, and we're going to attack here. He already put up a palisade here. If we take that, and it's a high population province, probably because of these houses, if we take that, which in theory, with what he's got in there, we should be able to crack in one turn with this group of people, as long as we don't take too many casualties. One turn crack, I don't see any armies nearby to be able to support that, then we'll be doing pretty well for ourselves. Aside from that, we're going to move out a raiding force. He's going to throw down elementals, conserve magic usage, magic gem usage, so he can use that a lot. There is indeed a fort under construction here. Now hopefully I can snipe that before it gets done, but that'll have to be next turn, so fingers crossed. We're continuing to scout to see where to what extent he's gone. He's not over here, so that's promising. What else? What else? And I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it for now. We are getting condors, and we already have... No, we don't. We're getting condors this turn, and I guess that's about it. Yeah, just spamming out Hobart crossbows and Apu pluses to lead them, because I'm getting a lot of slaves here with this little slave generation battery, so that's great. We're gonna get Renegade Sage. We put a lot of money into this. I think that's probably too much money, but I really wanted a lab here, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to get more Huron priests here. And I think we put that much money there because we just have the gold for it. We really actually have a lot of gold income, but not a lot to spend it on. And that's partly because we only have 2 forts. Alright, enough rambling. Not actually that much to talk about with this turn. So the war continues. Turn 14. Alright, Battle in Wick. We got condors, and we found a magic site with our Earl Malky. That's great. Sunridge is fire gems. Fire gems is gonna, I guess, be alright later on. Now, this didn't work out so well. He had a lot of PD there. I think that's sort of his go-to right now, is throwing PD everywhere. He had a lot of PD, and he had his guys on patrol. So we killed them all. We took the fort. But we also retreated with all of our Hatun Runa. And out of the 50 that retreated, half of them are still alive. So that's why slaves are bad, people. I mean, there are other reasons, but that's why slaves are bad in this game. Slavery is bad. Anyways, that's the takeaway. So this is where they all landed, because there's only one retreat path for them here. Also, our condors retreated as well, or our one condor retreated. At least he didn't die uselessly. So sadness. We did not break this fort in one turn, but we've still got a couple of people sieging here, and we're going to pick them up with our expansion group here, who did all right for themselves. Additionally, we're going to, what's going on here? We're just gonna keep expanding, or I should say raiding, over here. He's basically spamming gladiators, as you do. There is also a fort under construction here. I guess because he has done all right for himself as far as expansion goes. He's gotten all the way down here and here. He has enough gold to just throw palisades up everywhere, which in theory will actually be able to protect him as far as raiding goes. That'll allow him to survive a little bit longer for raiding, and also be able to get more gladiators. So it's a pretty decent strategy. So yeah, initial expansion into Aramorian lands is a bit of a struggle bus, but we're gonna make do. We're gonna throw our guys into the fray here and continue on. We did get the Renegade Sage because, you know, who else is gonna throw 200 at that guy? We have enough gold still to build a lab, and we are building, we don't have that much gold anymore, so we're building an Akla actually, because they're cheaper and stuff. Yeah. So, but we've cut off recruitment here. So we're moving more guys to the front, lots of slaves, and yeah, there you have it. Let's go on to turn 15. All right. Oh yeah. So Pangea actually took this throne last turn with a lot of centaurs and claimed it. So good on him. What else is going on? What else is new? So battles. Aramor has decided to start counter raiding. I don't usually put that much PD into my provinces because PD can get killed really easily, and unless you PD dump, you're not really likely to get a whole lot of usefulness out of PD. So it's mostly just to ping the army that is raiding me to see what exactly they have in their composition, and not even really as a speed bump for them. So how are things going? Well, not great. Our Condor group ran into the Sacred Equite units that he has, and these guys are actually pretty beefy. So this is what he's got as far as a blast goes: unholy weapons, invulnerability, and magic resistance. But the invulnerability and the unholy weapons is actually going to be a pain in the butt to deal with. Means he's got protection against mundane 21, high defense skill, basically as high as the Sarmatian cavalry that we saw, and unholy weapons deals 10 damage to my sacreds. Now, if you recall, in this army we have sacred condors, and unfortunately wooden warriors is not really going to protect against that 10 unholy damage, especially if he hits him with a lance. So that is sad. And my little talons are not going to do a whole lot of damage against his 21 protection, 19 defense. So it went as you expect. I lost all my condors. Again, like I said, condors not making a good show for themselves this game. Now on the plus side, because gladiators are gladiators, even though we didn't, air quotes, kill them, they still are no longer around because they took part in the combat. So he has a significantly reduced force here, but not great. Not great for me, just generally speaking. I feel like I'm missing something. All right, in order to stem the flow of his counter raiding units, we're moving some more slaves up here, and we're moving more guys here so that we can keep throwing units at this fort, because unfortunately he tried to break out with some gladiators, and while we beat them back and still maintained the siege on him somehow, he killed our Huron priest. Now I say somehow because I'm still not 100% sure why this happened. This is all we had as far as our units goes, and we did attack rear here, but he unfortunately got sniped, so our Supaya flew away, but these guys did not. Now they don't have Berserker, by the way. They just have Blood Surge, and I'm pretty sure Blood Surge is not like Berserker insofar as like they don't care about morale. I mean, their morale is 7 right now, and we have no commander, so they did not fly away. They chased these guys off the field. So I'm not 100% sure why that happened. I'm not familiar enough with the game mechanics to be able to explain that. But basically I win, and I still have the fort here, but I have no commanders. And so these guys are moving here immediately with a token force. We're not really going to be able to probably break this in one turn. But fingers crossed, honestly, really fingers crossed at this point that he has nothing else to throw at us, because I'm pretty sure there's nothing else in here. I'm pretty sure, but not 100%. So he does have a lot of gladiators here still. Firestarter is his pretender god, and we're continuing apace with our raiding. We've stuck a scout here with him so that he can carry the gems while we move and summon one lesser air elemental at a time. Now, as you recall, there was a fortress being built here, so that got sniped. Yay us, 600 gold of his down the tubes. But yeah, we don't really have a good answer for counter raiding right now, so we're just going to ferry more guys to the front. Lots and lots of crossbows is our answer, I guess. And we don't have that many Supaya still. But we do have Long Dead. Because he died, our Huron priest, we now have 2 Long Dead summoners. We could also be getting Soulless, but I forget about that because I'm dumb. It is debatable whether Soulless are better than Long Dead, though. I think if they're not in a province that participated in a battle, they're just sort of unarmored Soulless, and Nazca Soulless are actually size 3 because of their wings. So maybe Long Dead wasn't such a terrible idea, but you do get more. You get substantially more, and Soulless are actually a little beefier than Long Deads in terms of hit points. Anyways, doesn't matter. That's what we did. So there you go. Sort of back and forth right now. The war is not going 100% lopsided in my favor. I think I discover that Ashdod is here. Yep, there he is. And so we're like, hey, Ashdod, I'm fighting a war with Airmore and winning, wink, wink. Not telling him that. But why don't you get in and help me with that? And then also with my rating, I'm letting other people know that border Airmore that I'm fighting him. And just letting people know that Airmore is being attacked typically will get more people to want to fight Airmore. that's generally how things goes. Once you start losing, people gang up on you and you lose harder. So that's my goal, to get the illusion of him losing harder. And even though I won't take like 100% of his provinces as mine, because I'm not doing super great at that job, at least he'll lose harder, and then I'll be able to wrap up, let's say, 60% of his provinces. That's the plan in theory. So we're sticking with it. Let's go on to turn 16. Real quick, let's take a look at how research is going. It's going slowly. We'll get enchantment 3 next turn, which will not get us a whole lot, but oh well. And we're not gonna throw any more money at mercenaries right now. Turn 16. Alright, we found another magic site. That's great. And this one is a copper idol. More air gems. Yay. Now, I believe last turn... No, I did not. I thought I either did one more summoning of condors or I just gave up on condors. They're not doing a really good showing because of their lack of killie power, unfortunately. So, yeah, I think we sort of just gave up on condors for the time being. But yeah, there you go. The raiding continues apace. He did not decide to counter raid into here. Now I'm not getting the income for it, but at least he's not either. Same with this province. And I could put 1 PD here because I know it's going to just be taken back, but oh well. Now as far as here goes, we sniped one of his augur elders. That's great. This was a site searcher, obviously, and he was not as safe as he thought. So that's the benefit of raiding around with flyers. You can just hit literally anywhere. So Satis now knows that I'm fighting Airmore, and hopefully he gets the impression that I'm winning against him. But we'll see about that. Satis certainly can't attack me or do anything about that on that regard. So I will encourage him to decide to attack Airmore instead. Now, what's going on here? We've decided to switch to fire elementals. I think that's because our fire income is substantially higher and underutilized compared to our air income. Because with air income we could also be making owl quills, but we have foolishly been throwing them at condors. Now normally I would not say foolishly throwing them at condors as Nazca, but we have not really had a lot of luck with condors in this game. So we've got a glut of fire gems sitting around, and these fire gems can be utilized to make fire elementals. So we're going to do that. We're going to make fire elementals. And fire elementals can ethereal themselves through walls just as easily as air elementals can fly over walls. So that is the theory. Him. And he's got some as well, just for the inevitable storming, which will happen. Okay. The Equites decide to raffle stomp an entire squad of Hatun Runas, and the ones that survive really don't get out alive anyways. But some of them do show up here, so that's a positive, and help out with the siege. The rest are over here and being useless at life. So we're going to go pick them up with some more Hatun Runas, and we actually put some PD here. Like I said, PD dumps are effective if you can trap someone with them. So fingers crossed that we can do that. Now what else? We are also moving a bunch of slaves here in order to take that back. And then we're going to probably just use them to keep raiding around. The raiding continues apace there, and yeah. As far as recruitment goes, we're getting more Incas, because Incas will get us more fire elementals, and we're getting more units, because our units keep dying. Now our free units keep dying, so it's not the worst thing in the world, and our free units keep killing his gold gladiators. Now they are cheap gold, but still gold cost gladiators. And again, we only killed one, air quotes killed one, but all 24 of these saw combat, And so, as you can see, all 24 of them are gone. There are now only 9 equites here. These gladiators are gone, and well, equites and levies and 2 centurions, and that's it. That's all he's got. So we're doing damage to him. We're forcing him to spend gold. Everything is not terrible, but it's not going as well as I would like. It is not going as well as if I had, say, maybe gone to war with Mictlan. Unfortunate. But we're going to move past that. We're going to just move past that and power through and make this work somehow. Last turn, turn 17, and then we'll call it a vid. Turn 17. The war grinds on. All right, this was a pretty crappy turn in general. He did not take the bait to go here, which is fine with me, I guess, all things considered. That means I get to pick these Hatun Runa up, and we're gonna attack here, because if I know anything, these guys being here are in for a world of hurt if they do not win this battle. Because if they do not win this battle, then they will have nowhere to retreat to. So I need to open up a retreat path to them. This is actually kind of a pretty rough choke point for me right here. I really need to take this fort so that I can close up this flank and then just power on to Airmore proper. So we're trying to wrap this up real quick. Phoenix power, air shield for the protection from arrows, the inevitable slings that are coming from his fort, and then just some fire elementals. These guys are gonna fire, be up front to soak up the archers as well. We don't have as many guys as I would like, but can't do much about that. We also didn't put a guy here. That is generally what I always do in case I do lose. You should really always put a guy here to maintain the siege, because otherwise, like I said, they have nowhere to retreat to, so that would be bad. What else? What else went terribly for us this turn? So he continued to counter raid. He took our Amazon province from us, which honestly I wasn't utilizing really to its full potential anyways. But what that does mean is that actually cuts off my retreat from these guys who lost against a PD dump, because other players can do PD dumps too. And not surprisingly, heavy infantries and heavy cavalry are better than slaves. And so they die, and they all die, because there's nowhere to retreat to, because he also attacked here with another counter raiding force. So I lost 40 slaves for no reason. Arguably, they were 40 free slaves. This guy cost 70 gold. So I suppose it's not terrible, because he probably put 70 gold or more into this province defense. So it's actually, air quotes, an even trade, even though he doesn't lose anything because he keeps the PD. But it's frustrating. That's 70 slaves that, or 40 slaves that I just threw away for no reason, quite needlessly, and that's just frustrating. But yeah, can't do anything about that. This works fine, but we are running out of air gems, so we want to be able to do something about that. And we're running low on troops as well. So we're going to move here. We're going to move here and just keep raiding and being annoying in his back lines over here. He's also got a palisade up here. But Ashdod decided to get in on this after all. He's got some mercs. I'm going to bid on the Bandar Band, because really I just don't have the troops. I just don't have the troops because they keep dying. All right, so we've broken this fort. That's good. We're going to move here with some alternative troops, because slaves are not working out for us. So we're going to throw in some skeletons and our Supaya, and they'll be blessed. And skeletons do not rout, so hopefully that will be a better effect. We're also moving some guys here, a crap ton of crossbows, and some axemen as well to try and catch this counter raiding force. Don't know where he'd go. He could go here or here. He's sight searching, so he's not really in any danger right now. Yeah, it's just not super great. We're getting a bunch more Huron priests because honestly ours keep dying. It's just a generally not super great war with Airmore. It's not terrible. We are winning. I want to say we are winning because we are keeping him on the back foot. This counter raid is pushing a little bit into our lands, but not much. We've lost 1, 2, 3 provinces to him, and he's lost 1, 2, 3 to us. This is a sieged fort, so it's sort of even, but I have much more mobility than he does, so that's a plus. I guess we did decide to keep bidding on the mage here just for research purposes. He does provide 17 research for us because we have magic skills, so not terrible. And honestly, our research is something to be desired. I think we decided to hold off on enchantment because enchantment 5 for Horde of Skeletons is not going to be as good as full-sized elementals. I think that's what we decided. If we get full-sized fire elementals, again, we have like 20 fire gems. I think that'll be better than that'll be better for us than Horde of Skeletons in the long run. So that's my theory. Alright, yeah, sort of a meh war. Not super great. We can't really spam out condors like your normal Nazca can. And there aren't a whole lot of people in this game who are willing to trade air gems with us. General Confusion is basically the only air gem power who gets, that is to say, air income from sight. Now later on, a bunch of people actually did have air on their pretenders, so they could sight search around and get air gems, but I never really followed up with that. I decided pretty early on that I was going to switch from condors to basically Supaya strat instead, because condors were just not doing it for me, and I can get Supayas for free. So yeah, and but what I really am starting to figure out pretty shortly hereafter is that I don't have enough forts. Once I can get this counter raiding back under control and sort of secure border and push farther into Airmore's lands, which I think will work a little bit better now that Ashdod is in this fight with me, I decide that I need to put up more forts because I'm not really being able to take full potential of, let's say, my mages. I really want more mages because my units are crap, but my mages are actually good. So I need more mages to ferry around my undead, which I'm getting quite a lot of. I need more Huron priests, and I need more Incas in order to get more fire elementals out onto the battlefield. I could also be getting Aklas for that, but Incas are just better, and then if they die I get more Supayas, so it's not terrible. Alright, so there you have it. Pretty lame war. Pretty lame first war for me, but we're gonna make something work out of this. We're gonna figure it out. I don't really just pick one strategy and beat my head against a wall with it. I do over time figure out something that could work and adapt and try and overcome. So as long as I don't take too heavy of a morale hit in terms of like losing pretty big, I am generally encouraged enough to try and figure the problem out rather than give up. Now, even in terms of giving up for me, it doesn't mean like going AI and leaving the game. It just means like turtling basically. So morale is a pretty big factor in all Dominions games, in my opinion. It really does determine whether or not you are an underdog who comes out from behind, or a guy who just slowly gives up and lets the other player win. So that's where we're at. I am trying to figure out my way around these problems of gladiators and Sacred Shroud Equites, and we're gonna make it work. We're gonna do this thing. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you for watching.